Hello everyone! In the first video in this series I introduced a problem about pizzas, and I told you that during the remaining videos I would explain you the different techniques you would need to solve this problem. Now that we've seen all the other videos, it's time to solve the problem. Let's first remind ourselves of the situation. We had two pizza places, pizza place A and pizza place B. And they have different ways of determining the price of a pizza. In both cases, there was a base price per pizza, amount of pizzas was P, and a price per topping, the amount of toppings was T. We also knew that everyone except one person wanted 4 toppings on their pizza, meaning that the amount of toppings, T, equals 4 times P minus 1, because there was 1 less. And the question was, with how many pizzas does pizza place A become cheaper? So how do we solve this? Before we start, be aware that, first of all, this is a difficult problem with many steps. So generally, if you would have to solve this, you would be given the steps that you have to do. Second off, I'm going to go through this rather quickly. So if you really want to follow what's going on, it may be necessary to sometimes pause the video and see what's going on. We have a couple of things to deal with. First of all, it asks us, when does something become cheaper? So that is an inequality. We have to solve an inequality. But before we can do that, we have too many variables to deal with. There's an M, there's a P, there's a T. So we have to reduce the amount of variables, and we can do that by substituting. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be substituting the formula for the amount of toppings into the formulas for the price, for the money. To start off, we will simplify this formula by getting rid of the brackets. We're doing 4 times P and 4 times minus 1, and we get 4P minus 4. Okay, so now we start substituting this formula. So wherever we see T, we can actually write 4P minus 4. Which means in the first case it's very simple. T is already just there, so we can just put 4P minus 4 in there. And then we can simplify that formula. 4P plus 4P is 8P, minus 4 plus 10 is 6, so we get the price, the money, is 8P plus 6. Second case, formula B is a bit more difficult because we have that 0.75 going on there. Which means that we'll substitute like this. We need to keep those brackets. 6P plus 0.75 times that entire thing, the entire 4P minus 4 plus 5. And again, we get rid of the brackets. 0.75 times 4P, 0.75 times minus 4, giving us 6P plus 3P minus 3 plus 5. And if we simplify that, we end up with M equals 9P plus 2. Now from here, the next step is to solve the inequality. We want to know when pizza place A is cheaper. So when the formula for pizza place A gives a lower price than the formula for pizza place B. Meaning we're looking for this inequality. 8P plus 6 must be smaller than 9P plus 2. How did we solve that? We started by solving the equation. Solving the equation, we start by taking off 8P on both sides to get 6 equals P plus 2. Then we get rid of the 2 on both sides, giving us P equals 4. So what does that actually tell us? That tells us that at 4 it is exactly the same. So I choose a point under 4 to check. In this case I take a 0 because that's easy to calculate. And I choose a point over 4 to check, and then I pick 10 again because that's easy to calculate. So if I fill in 0, 8P disappears, 9P disappears. So in my inequality, I just get 6 is smaller than 2, which quite clearly is not correct. If, however, I fill in 10, then I get 8 times 10 plus 6, that's 86, is smaller than 9 times 10 plus 2, that's 92. So 86 is smaller than 92, and would you know it, that is correct. So we notice that after 4, this is correct. So we see that it's correct when p is larger than 4, which means that the solution to the situation is that pizza place A is cheaper when you buy at least 4 pizzas. To be more specific, it is the same price at 4 pizzas and cheaper at more than 4 pizzas. So here you go, this is one difficult situation that we can solve with the methods that we have learned in the previous videos. And with this, I will round off this series of videos, and I hope to see you back for another series.